thank you very much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And thank you for sending the message through with your music. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And it's very nice to meet you. And thank you for the invitation and having me in your podcast.
No problem at all. So let's start off with the usual question that I always start off with everybody. How did you get into music? What drew you to music and what drew you to the guitar?
I grew up in Nafpaktos. Nafpaktos is in central Greece. It's a small town. During the 80s, 1989, my mother urged me to learn how to play the guitar in the local, the only at the time local small conservatory. She always thought that music somehow balances the human soul. So she urged me to do that. I didn't understand that much. I agreed and went there, and I met Kostas Eliadis, my teacher. He was coming from Greece once a week for lessons. And when I look at him and how he was playing the guitar, and he gave it to me and tried to play a few notes, I was impressed very much. It was the first time in my life with an instrument. And I loved it, especially when my first guitar came. It was a present from my grandmother, and I took it and I said, wow, this is mine. This is probably an extension of mine. Okay, I didn't have that kind of thoughts at the time, but I was very impressed and perhaps in love with at first sight with the instrument. So I didn't know I didn't know at the time what classical guitar studies were, how difficult they were, what type of, how can I say it, when songs, tunes, you need to play compositions. I didn't know, but it was the only thing I could do. So I did it and I started playing. I wasn't studying too much, but I was playing all the time. I was playing Greek tunes, classical tunes, and later on rock tunes. So this was it. The start was something like that.
Okay, so tell us some of the tunes that you started off with.
I mean, with some classical studies at the beginning, very easy for now, but at the time was challenging. A lot of Greek tunes I was used to listen to from my parents. And when I was 12 or 13 years old, I started to play AC/DC or Guns N' Roses or the first Metallica riffs in the electric guitar. You know, I have a dear friend of mine that lives in Melbourne now for over 10 years, Giorgos Tabakis. He's a great guitarist. I don't know if you know him.
Nick von Stav.
Yes, Nick von Stav.
That guy's a legend. He's a shit hot guitarist.
Yes, this shit hot guitarist is a personal friend of mine. We grew up in the same town. Wow. And he was the first that showed me the first riffs.
Wow.
My first electric guitar was one of his.
Okay.
I took it, I bought it, and our parents were friends even before I was born. And we played during my teens. He's a little older than me, 5 years, I think. And we formed a group. We formed a group with him and a few others, and we played for years.
I did not know that. There you go.
Dear friend.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I've spoken to him. I haven't seen him recently, but yeah.
Yes, he's a very cool and low guy. You know, rock.
Yeah. He's
great talent.
Yeah, he's playing in a blues rock band and a punk band, and he's playing in 5 different bands or something these days.
No.
Okay, yes. There you go. That's interesting.
Yes.
What a connection.
Yes. And later on, so I formed a band with around 1994 or 95 with a few friends, and we played rock tunes from various groups of our times. And we played in clubs and bars. All the students from the schools, from the different schools, were coming to see us, to check on us. So we played every time in a full house, and we earned a nice, good money. I mean, we had drachmas at the time, not euros. And we used that money to buy stuff, CDs and other, perhaps a pedal effect for the guitar. Very interesting times, very free times. I remember a lot of stuff from that time.
Okay.
Good emotions, good. Yes.
Yeah. So was your family musical as well? Did your parents play any instruments?
No, not at all. That's the strange thing.
Okay.
But they were always listening to traditional Greek music, and but we didn't have anything to do with music. My family and their parents and their brothers. It was out of the blue that I hooked up with the guitar.
Interesting. That's really cool.
Yes.
So now, from what I have read, you started playing guitar when you were about 10 years old. Mm-hmm. And you released your first album 7 years ago at the age of 35, if I have my calculations correct.
Yes, correct.
So I'm guessing, yeah, you were studying and so forth, but still 35 seems like a little bit late to release your first album. So what made you wait that long?
You know, I have a strange path musically, you can say. I never have thought that I would be a professional musician, professional artist. So my approach to the guitar was that I like it. It's very essential to me somehow. So when I came up from my military, we have a military, how can I say it? I don't know in English.
Military service.
Yes. When I got back, this was the time that my interest for music grown highly. Mm-hmm. And I passed for the next years, I studied very hard and tried to find what was interesting in music to me, what I wanted to do with it. And I studied a huge spectrum of traditional and contemporary music, from classical guitar, jazz guitar, and all the kinds of guitars, 12-string, 7-string I could grab to my hands, to Indian instruments. I went to India for a few seminars for sitar and sarod. I studied the didgeridoo, I studied the classical piano and the theoretical stuff, all that together.
Wow.
I'm not good in programming, you know. I'm not the type that I will finish one thing and I will start the next after I finish the previous. I discovered that I loved a lot of stuff in music, so I couldn't wait to finish the first and go to the second. It will take 150 years, I don't know. So I played a lot since I was 25. I played with bands. I was at the time in Nafpaktos. It was limited, the things I could do with music. So I decided to come to Athens in 2008. And I started to play with many bands and in jazz clubs. I was already in the jazz guitar study, let's say. And I didn't thought at the time let's make a CD. We were playing jazz. After a few years, I was already 29 or something. I was thinking that I want to do something on my own, and started to forming my first groups that played original tunes of mine. This was a difficult procedure because I was discovering many mistakes I was making in trying to compose these tunes. So when the band tried to play it, it was to rehearse it. It was not as I thought in before, or perhaps I needed something else. It was, you know, I tried to find my own voice, and this is very difficult to do.
Probably the most difficult.
Yes, and I was composing constantly. At what point, little before my first recordings, I had done lots of recordings, but I didn't release anything because at that time I wasn't sure about the result, or I didn't know what I was trying to do yet. But all these compositions and all this material that I have composed over the past 10 years, it was starting to having a bad effect on me, because it was on my head. I had several projects in my mind, you know, with composition, and I said, okay, I must release them. I must complete them. So this was the first, that is the main reason that I've released many CDs in a few years. I had a lot of material written already. In my last CDs, and my last CD for solo 8-string guitar that released in October, I had a tune in it that I had composed 11 years ago or something, at least the main idea. So that's why, this is why perhaps I was late. So I'm trying to take the time back now, and I'm releasing every year one CD.
Very nice. And yes, I did see that, yeah, you've also, I guess the correct word is you dabble, you play a little bit of, yeah, Tibetan horn, didgeridoo, sitar, sarod. Piano is fairly standard in jazz music and in Western music, but sitar, sarod, didgeridoo, how did you find these instruments?
Yes, I can't easily explain it in a logical way, because I remember myself drinking coffee in the morning in my hometown, Nafpaktos, looking at the sea and listening for 1 hour Schoenberg, you know, the atonalist, and then for 1 hour solo sarod, and many other styles and music that I felt it very familiar. You know, I listen to Indian classical music, and I don't listen to something strange. I listen to something that it's mine in a way. So a great deal of that interest, let's say, it was from a teacher of mine, Andreas Georgiou. He is a multi-instrumentalist. Also, I used to listen. I'm a great fan of Egberto Gismondi, the Brazilian pianist and guitarist who plays 10-string guitars and many other instruments. Also a multi-instrumentalist, and that showed me that I need to explore more than an instrument. I need to explore more than a style. Western music isn't everything, and I need to know what else is beside it. And what whatever instrument I'm listening to, and it has an interesting sound, I will go and get it and start to practice on it. Not because I want to be a sitar player, but because I need to feel the vibe of something different. And this vibe can show me different paths, different ways of approaching music.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps it's a more sentimental thing, but not a logical thing, you know.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, so knowing these instruments, do they influence your songwriting and how you approach the guitar?
Certainly, for certain, it gives me, as I said before, a different view, different approaches. But I'm not trying to transfer anything from one instrument to the other. It's more I want to feel the vibe and freely to come, perhaps with something new. It can give some kind of freshness in the composition or even in sound. For example, I was listening to the berimbau, the African, I don't know, and that sound, it was a very interesting sound, and I tried to put it in an intro of one of my compositions, and it was perfect. It doesn't sound like a berimbau, but that view gave me an idea that might be a fresh one. Something like that. This is my interest in all this. I'm currently studying the ancient Greek lyra. You know. Yeah. So perhaps at some points my system is tired from the many strings of the guitar or the you know, the effort I'm trying to do. So I need some distance from that. So there comes other instruments and relaxes me and gives me a new perspective. And at some point I miss the guitar and I grab it again.
Understand. And yeah, your latest album is for solo 8-string guitar, which you had the guitar custom made. So I was wondering, now you said that you picked up the 8-string guitar, tried it, couldn't get used to it, put it back down again, and then picked it up again. So I was wondering, what did you do differently after you put it down and then picked it up again, that seemed to then work for you?
This is very interesting. All of your questions are very interesting, but this is essential. Again, it's not a logic explanation, but I don't know if you understand that I am very interested in music. I'm deeply interested in music. It's not something like a hobby to me. It's something like eating food or drinking water or sleeping. So I am thinking all the time about music. For problems I have, for compositions I need to finish, for projects, new projects, older projects, all the time. It's a huge part of my life. I don't have any hobby. I don't care about any hobby. Having said that, I was I had a problem because I couldn't find another essential thing is that I need to play with my own artistic voice. I don't care to play and listen and you can say he's like George Benson or he's like that type of guitarist. I want to be heard as me. So all of that made me to want to play the 8-string. But even though I had before it was built, even though I had the tuning in my head, when I tried to play with that tuning, I couldn't, because I don't know why. you can find easy ways to do that, you know. So even though if I put it away for 3 or 4 months, disappointed, I was all day thinking about it, how and why, and tried to listen new music, tried to listen new other instruments, solo piano. I listened to many solo piano CDs and string quartets, and because I was thinking that perhaps this guitar isn't like the other guitars. I can't think for this instrument as I think for other normal guitars. This was perhaps the thing that changed. I wanted to maximize the orchestral sound that the 8-string guitar offered. I was listening music to my head that was for a huger instrument. It was more powerful, and I tried to take this and transfer it to the instrument. That changed a lot. That made me come up with some new techniques with 5 fingers in my right hand in order to transpose this orchestral sound. And during that time, I was thinking, I started to compose the material for hEre, nOw, theN, my latest CD. That was the time. And it came that this is an extended guitar. This is like more than a guitar. And I found it. I said, this is more than a guitar. What does this mean? I can put in it different aspects. I can put in it percussive sounds. So it was a procedure, a very alive procedure. It had even conflicts in it. And it made me come up with the more than a guitar concept. This is a concept I'm currently studying. It was from that time, I mean, from our second lockdown here in 2021. And now, 1 year after the sting, I'm thinking more clearly about it and trying to see how the more than a guitar concept can evolve, perhaps even if this can be a subject to a seminar and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So when I was composing, during that procedure, when I was trying to play the guitar, the new guitar, and also compose new stuff, and the whole idea of a new CD with solo 8-string guitar came, I named it hEre, nOw, theN. It came to me. I didn't think about what this does it mean. It came to me, hEre, nOw, theN. This came because when I was composing, I had a strange feeling that somehow I was remembering the music that had not yet been written. It wasn't written yet, but somehow I remembered it. Very interesting. So it gave me a lot of food to think. I don't know if that makes sense. About the perception of time, the series of experiences, the events of life, you know, and all of that magic procedure was forming at the time, and eventually it was formed in the new CD.
Okay. And yeah, the orchestral sound is one thing that yeah, I really take from your latest album, the hEre, nOw, theN album. I haven't heard a lot of 8-string guitarists, but the 8-string guitarists I have heard, they use the extra strings in passages, so certain sections of the song. You seem to want to use the full range of the guitar throughout the whole composition.
Yes,
so
I am that type.
So
yes,
so yeah, this is something
sorry.
that you are thinking of when you're holding the guitar. You're thinking, I really want to take advantage of the whole instrument.
Yes, this is my way of making music in this guitar. I see a whole instrument. I don't see a six string with two more strings. I believe that this is essential also. I see this guitar and I see a new instrument. If I don't see a new instrument, then I don't have new ways to play it. I will play it with the ways I know. But if I see a new instrument, that will give me a large amount of questions, of problems that I need to solve, of different things I need to approach, and that will mathematically go to another, a different way of playing it. After that, it's the aesthetics, what I want to, how I want to play, and what the music will sound like. I want to play the full range of the guitar. I've listening to modern players with multi-string guitars, and I understand that each one of them, I mean, players that stands out because their style is unique, even if they are classical or progressive or jazz. I understood that by listening to them, that they came up with their own style. They created their own style. Why is that? Because you can't pay someone to teach you how to play an 8-string guitar or a 10-string guitar. It might give you an idea of the strings, of the register, of the spectrum, of whatever. But the method is for a 6-string guitar. After that, you can do whatever you want, but you must find what you want. And this is the very interesting thing about it. With that kind of instruments, you must have a deeply personal touch. You must build a unique relationship, because otherwise you don't know what to do with it, what to play it. Because you see an 8-string, you see a 6-string with one more or two more.
Yeah.
But this is not. I mean, this is not the way to create something artistically unique. At least from my view, this is the big difference between other guitars and this guitar, for my view, for my way of thinking.
Nice. And yes, you have said already that, yeah, one of the compositions on the latest album is probably about 10 years old now. And you've also mentioned that, yeah, you were already thinking how to tune the guitar, this 8-string guitar. So did you request to get the 8-string guitar? Did you order the 8-string guitar because you were hearing sounds in your mind that you couldn't get from the 6-string and the 7-string guitar?
Yes, definitely. I played the 7-string guitar for many years, and I have recorded all my CDs except the last one with 7-string guitar. because I said, as I said before, I was and I am a great fan of multi-string guitarists. So definitely, I hear music that needs more than 6 strings. Not because I have perfected the 6 string. This is not the case. As I said before, I can't complete one thing and go to another one. And of course, the guitar and music, you can't complete them. I could study them for 3 lives if I had more than one life. So this is a custom model. My GT 8-string guitar is a custom model built by my friend Giorgos Tabakis. It's a move guitar. It is the first of its kind. The one I played and I recorded, it's the prototype. After that, and with the great amount of attention that the CD drew globally, many people asked him from different countries to build them, for him to build them an 8-string guitar. So all of these are contacting me through email and messenger to ask me how to tune this or that.
So how much do you charge per question?
What?
How much do you charge them for every question?
No, it's for free. So I had a 6-string move guitar because Giorgos is building them for the last 4 or 5 years. And it was an incredible instrument, very easy to play. It's very important to have instruments that helps you play. So after a few months, I asked him to build me the 8-string guitar, but he didn't want to,
Oh, really?
to do
Okay.
that because he was anxious and afraid that I can't do it. I've never done it before. I must construct everything from the beginning. So I pushed him a little, and eventually for 6 months, he worked very hard and he gave it to me. He told me, take it and play it.
Nice.
So yes, this instrument was something very important for me. It gave me freshness, joy, and it grew a huge interest to go forward through all the difficulties and challenges. But this is the magical point. I like to be challenged by something. And I'm currently writing trying to complete some new compositions for the guitar, and preparing for some concerts in the summer in Spain, Italy, Greece.
You've already said, yeah, the move guitar, which was made, we said, by Giorgos Tabakis. I'll get it.
Yes.
Yeah, was very easy to play. And that's why you requested the 8-string version of it. But did you request any modifications to when you ordered the 8-string guitar, and what was it that you wanted different?
I wanted to make sure that I can play it in my right foot because I don't play in the left. Giorgos make adjustments in order to be perfect, in a perfect position for me. And this was the major thing. And the other major thing was to make sure that it would fit, it will hold the high A string, the soprano A, La string as a first one, and it will not break all the time. So it had to be sure about the scale, and I needed to be sure about the string. I contacted the firm from England, and we made sure that the scale and the string will be perfect and not breaking, and etc. etc. Other than that, the guitar was already there, the main structure from the 6-string guitar, I mean, and other things that made me want this type of guitar it's because it has no body, natural body, so you can play in very large with very large sound and not have feedback and stuff. Its electric parts are high level, and Giorgos, because he's a brilliant classical guitarist, has made it sound like a true classical guitar. And last but not least, it has unique aesthetics. This guitar is a sculpture. It's a Picasso guitar. You can't find anywhere else this type of instrument. So that gave me a personal sfragida. How can I say it?
Stamp.
An artist stamp. Yes, an artistic stamp also. And that worked out as I have. That worked out also.
Nice. So I'm guessing you can't just go to the shop and get a set of 8-string guitars, 8-string guitar strings.
Strings.
Yes. So are you substituting just a different gauge for the bass and the high?
There is few firms with guitar string firms that have that kind of strings. I use low bass from a 10-string guitar set. You know, there are 10-string guitar sets with. So I take the ninth of the ninth, almost the most bass, and I also try to find a high A. The set I use is similar to the Brahms tuning. The Brahms tuning, the 8-string Brahms guitar is a special guitar made by Paul Galbraith, the British guitarist, he plays it like a cello, you know, if you see it. So this guitar has, for the first string, it has a soprano A, a high string, and also for the 8th string has a bass, and the normal tuning is between. My only difference with that tuning is that my bass is a B, not an A. So I'm trying to fix that set, and I'm buying the 6-string guitar, I'm buying the B bass, and I'm buying the A soprano. But I need to buy them in larger quantities because the firm wants you to take the whole package, and it's huge, a lot of money, and most of the strings I'm not using it. I want the
specific
the specific ones. So this is it.
Okay.
About the tuning.
Nice. Okay. Now, moving on from the 8-string guitar, you've recorded music for guitar and clarinet, guitar and cello, jazz trio, jazz quartet. Do you have a particular format that you prefer, and was any format more challenging to write for? And what are you still hoping to try? Is orchestra next? Is what's next?
I'm all in the contemporary music, so every CD of mine I want to be slightly, at least, different than others. In one CD I want to be more European jazz, in another one more contemporary chamber music. So I don't have a favorite formation combo or something. The previous one with Rebecca Trescher, the German clarinetist, was something very unique as the older one was at the time. This was challenging enough because we were only two, and I wanted to have also a sentimental feeling, but also an aggressive one at some points, without percussion, without anything, just the two of us. And that worked perfectly because it had also a lot of space for instinct, for improvisation and for things that came up instantly. You know, the recording of the Dual Nature CD was a live recording, and we had also a studio recording, and I with Yotis, with my friend, my sound engineer, listened to both of them and decided that the live version was better than the studio version, even though that it had some flaws that you can hear some nails in the strings or something, but the energy was good. So we decided to keep the live performance. This showed me that music is not about perfection. Music is about energy. It's about feeling and to express what you need to express instantly, and this can reach more people than a perfect studio version. It's an element that I have in mind, that I don't need to be perfect. You know what I mean? Because especially in classical guitar, you need to be perfect. Since you were in the conservatorium, it's something I have get rid of it for some years now. I'm working, as I said, for new compositions. I'm working also for new projects with a great soprano friend, a colleague of mine, for a duo with fades and guitar and effects, and prepared guitar.
How do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean
by. Do you know the prepared piano? It's you put different how can I say, different material in the strings of the piano.
Okay.
And when you play it, this is called prepared piano. You can put some materials in the strings and come up with the sound you want.
Yeah, understand.
So in this way, I have tried it in the past. I have studied in the past various ideas about a prepared guitar, and I believe that it's time to make something like that also. It's for a project for next year. Also, I'm working on a new project with piano, with bass clarinet with Rebecca. She doesn't know it yet.
She'll find out soon.
Yes, and for 8-string, I can't say much for now, but we are in conversation with different organizations, cultural institutions here, in order to find a way and a time next year to present it. I have a lot of thoughts about music in the future for me. I don't know if all of that will even come, you know, to a conclusion. Something I would truly love to do will be to play with my guitar and a string quartet. I tried that before the pandemic. We formed a new project with a few selected compositions of my CDs at that time. It was 2020. We presented it on February, and it was a string trio and a jazz trio. But we had the chance to present it only once because everything closed, and after that. And now we are lost I don't track, I can't feel something about this project. Perhaps some of my compositions from Here, Now, Then, and the new ones, it would be a great idea to transform it in a string quartet and guitar to transfer it. We'll see.
Nice. Okay. All right, just a few more questions.
Yes, of course.
on all of the releases, you're credited, aside from one or two songs, you're credited with the songwriting on each album, and on each album you're collaborating with different musicians. So how much do the musicians you were playing with influence your compositions?
Yes, excellent question. For certain, I listen a lot to a musician in order to write something that I know he can play it well and he will like to play it. So if I want to collaborate with Rebecca Tresser, I will listen to all her discography in order to have the vibe of what she would like to play. So I will put him, her, in a position that he would like it, he would find interesting. Even though I listen the music to my head, when we actually play it, it's much more better, because the personality, the artistic personality of the musician or the fellow musician is something that gives life to a composition, because otherwise I will listen to it only in my head. And this is something truly unique. It's something very interesting that makes me to want to collaborate with musicians.
Nice. And you actually answered my next question. I was going to ask, how much do you listen to the musicians before asking them? But you already answered that. So, and yeah, you've also done work with theatre and dance as well. Is that correct? Tell us.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about those.
And I still do. I love to write music for other forms of art. I have collaborated with dancers for contemporary dance videos or even performances, and in the performances I play live the music. And for theater, I have done also for theater. I also play live the music. I like to do that because the actors and the production finds it a very unique idea. Everybody does it at our times anyway. I have also done something it was very interesting at the time, and I'm trying to find a way to do it again. How it was called? I collaborated with a friend of mine that she's a great painter, art painting or something. No, action painting. Yes.
Action painting.
Yes. I was. She was on a white board canvas, and she was listening to my music that I was improvising at the time, and she started to join. So as she was drawing, I was inspired by the colors and mixes and shapes, and I was also continuing to improvise. So it was.
So you could see what she was doing. She didn't have it. Okay.
No, we were next to each other.
Okay.
It was a unique night. I'm all in what it has to do with contemporary art and expression. Recently, I composed music for a dance video about the fires in Greece that came up 2 weeks ago, was uploaded. Very unique also collaboration with Dimitra Zafiriou, a soprano of mine. She's a soprano, a colleague, a friend of mine. She's fantastic. So that's about it. I want to play music for music, but I want also to get the chance to play music for something else, for the vision, for the movement, for the images, for a video. To lay back and let other forms of art go in front. That's very interesting. It's a different perspective, and it needs a different approach on this in the in the tunes, in the improvisation. Perfect. I love
And
it.
yeah, it does. You seem to have to really enjoy getting involved with a lot of different things, which is fantastic. I love that.
Thank you.
And these compositions, this music that you have done for the theatre productions and for the dance and that kind of thing, have you released that, or do you plan to release that, or do you prefer to keep them together?
I have a few of them are recorded already because I go everywhere with my sound engineer, my friend Giotis. We are like brothers for the last 7-8 years. So everything I do, he, without asking me, he's recording it live anyway. We listen to it later and we decide if it's good, if it can work as a CD, because it is not composed and recorded for a CD. I can find most of the times I can find very interesting ideas that I can use in order to compose something from them. I take to take a theme or a motif and compose something larger, but I haven't released in a CD something like that. Recently, we were listening to a concert in. I took the music from a play, and I tried to put it in a concert. We did it in the Anglican church in Athens, with full house in. It was perfect. The sound, the sopranos, the cellos, and stuff. It was recorded, but I wasn't sure after I listened to it. I wasn't sure if I want to have a CD release, because on the other hand, I'm constantly composing new stuff, and how many CDs you can release? My label said to me, "Okay, you're slow down.
No more. We can't take anymore." Nice, I like that. And last question. So, yes, all the people that you have worked with, seem to be a great match together. Has there been any challenges with your musical colleagues in terms of your sound, and is there any musicians that you're still hoping to collaborate with?
Yes, I have. I always search for musicians to collaborate with. I enjoy listening to new stuff from all around the world, especially from Europe. I have some thoughts about different projects. I don't have a specific. I don't have anyone that, especially Nez, I want to work with. But a few ideas. There are a few ideas. To answer the first question, always there are challenges when I collaborate with musicians. Not fortunately, not something that is bothering us. It's causing a problem or something. But perhaps in a few cases, one or two, our chemistry is not that strong or warm.
Yeah.
But this has happened to me once or twice. The most difficult part is when you have a band that you want to stay as a band and work as a band and evolve as a band. So you need to have a long-term relationship with the members. This is something that can bring difficulties because the artistic approaches are different from time to time to the members. I want to go to that direction, and we need to work on that direction, and the other one doesn't want, or has something else in mind. Or I think that can be an issue. That happened to me in 2019 and 2020. And you must find ways to overcome it.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for your time. Is there any final things that you would just like to say?
I want to say that it was a pleasure speaking to you and talking with you. Thank you very much for having me. It was a great time for me. Kisses to Australia and to all Greeks in Australia. Hope for the best.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.